Should you sell those Lego gifts with purchases that you get during May 4th promotions when you're buying all the cool Star Wars sets and you're getting double VIP points and then you get these free gifts? Should you actually just go ahead and sell them online to somebody else who would enjoy them more so you can get some of the money back that you paid for your Lego Star Wars sets? That's what we're going to talk about here in this video. And if you do want to sell them, should you sell them right away or should you hold them for a while and see if values go up on those sets over time? We're going to answer these questions here in this video, and welcome to the May 4th promotions. I love this time of year as a Lego fan, as a Lego collector and investor, and a Star Wars fan. Of course, this is where all the stars align for us Lego and Star Wars fans. And Lego Group have pulled out all the stops once again this year with incredible deals, discounts, promotions. I made a different video where I walked through everything that's happening this year in 2024, but in this video I want to talk specifically about the gifts of purchases from previous May 4th years. We're going to talk about 2023, last year's gifts with purchases that you got during this May 4th promotion if you bought Star Wars sets. And then we're also going to talk briefly about 2022 as well. A lot of the time with these promotions, you get multiple gifts for a single order. If you spend $200, for example, on a Lego Star Wars set, sometimes you get 2 or maybe 3 gifts for that purchase, and you can sell them all on eBay or on Amazon and recuperate some of your cost. But then you're likely wondering, how much will I actually get back if I go ahead and do that? How much can I sell some of those gifts for? Are they worth much? What are they going for online? And that's what we're going to look at here. So before I jump in and show you the actual values of last year's May 4th gift of purchases, I do want to just quickly bring to your attention a really cool tool that we can use here, because if you are unsure about what last year's promotions actually were, I'm going to show you a way you can actually go back in time and look at them, so you can actually check what was the promotion like last year, how does it compare to this year, what was the promotion like in previous years. So you can go back in time using this tool, and you can actually quickly check on the promotions. What were the gift for purchases like? What were the deals like on lego.com during May 4th promotions in previous years? And then you can go and look at those current selling prices of those old gift for purchases today on eBay. Now let's just quickly jump in and have a look here. So this is this year's sales page for the May 4th promotions. This is the 2024 page. I'm on lego.com here looking at the May 4th promotions real quick. Now if we actually go to a tool called the Wayback Machine, you can get here by just go to Google and just search Wayback Machine and then click on the listing. You're going to be taken here. And the Wayback Machine is basically a catalog or kind of like a history of the internet. And you can search for a website in here and it's going to give you a ton of dates, and you can pick a date and you'll be able to look at a snapshot of what that website looked like on that date. So I can actually just search for lego.com here in the Wayback Machine, and I can pick a date like May 4th last year, 2023, and I'm going to see what did the lego.com website look like on May 4th of 2023. That's what we're going to do here. So just to show you how this works real quick, you search for the website right here, search for lego.com, and then it's going to give you this first chart up here. It's going to have all these years, so you can pick a year, and then below you're going to be able to pick the date. So we want to go back to 2023. You can click 2023, and then you're going to see all the different options here, and we're looking for May, and you can see you can go to May 1st, 2nd, 3rd, or you can click May 4th. Now they typically announce the deals a couple of days beforehand, so we could even look at May 1st, and we're going to see what we're looking for here. And then you can click on one of the times, so it takes multiple snapshots throughout the day, and you can pick one of those snapshots that you want to click on. And so when you do that, you will be taken to the version of lego.com from that time period. And it's going to look similar to lego.com today, because in the space of a year, the website doesn't tend to change a lot. But if you go back a couple of years, you're going to notice the website actually looks quite different. And even a year back, the sets are all different here. So we can look at last year's Lego sets by doing this. So when we actually scroll down here on the home page of lego.com on the May 1st, 2023, we're going to see them start to talk about the May 4th promotions. We can see that they're announcing the new X-Wing that's about to drop. That is the UCS set that was released this time last year. And then when you scroll down further, they talk about the Lego Star Wars sets you can buy. But right here, we can see Celebrate with a Gift, and they have the gifts with purchases that were available during the May 4th promotions in 2023 listed right here. So again, a very quick and easy way for us to check what were those promotions, if you can't remember, what were those gift of purchases that were available in May 4th promotions in 2023. Use the Wayback Machine, go back in time, look at a snapshot of lego.com on those days, and you'll be able to see. And again, this is also useful for Black Friday, for, you know, all the different deals days throughout the year, so you can go back in time and check what were things like last year or the previous year. It's very, very useful as a Lego collector, Lego investor, to be able to go back and see these things. So this quickly shows us what we need to see. These are the different gifts that were available in 2023. We had the Death Star 2, my personal favorite gift for purchase that was ever given out on the May 4th promotions. Amazing. I just love this thing. Also selling for a very high price right now. We're going to look at that next, where we talk about what are the values of these gifts. This was available if you spent $150 or more. You also could get the VIP coin if you spent $85 or more, and you could get the miniature X-Wing polybag for a spend of $40 or more. So you could get all three of these for a spend of $150 in a single order. You could get 3 of these gifts. But what are they selling for right now? If you actually got these gifts last year and you sold them today on eBay, how much would you get back for just selling these free gifts? Even though you keep your X-Wing or whatever Lego set you bought, how much would you get back for just selling these gifts because you prefer the big sets, you don't want the gifts? Well, if you start off with the Death Star, what I like to do is I go to eBay, I look at recent sales on eBay, and I search for the set number. It's important to look at recent sales. Don't just look at listings, because people can list them for crazy prices. You actually want to see actual sales, actual recent sales of the set. Now, you need to avoid, this is one where all 3 of the gifts are being sold together. I don't really recommend that. You can get more money by selling them individually. Typically, when people buy a bundle, they expect a discount. So instead of discounting it, just create 3 listings and sell them all, separately, and you may get more. In fact, here though, we do see selling for 70, which looks pretty good in this listing right here. But we're looking right now for Death Star. What is Death Star selling for? The first one we see here is 51. Now, this was an auction. We can see 21 bids. Auctions typically go for less money, so I prefer to just go buy it now when I'm selling on eBay and don't do an auction. I think if we scroll down, we may see some higher price sales than this $51. That's the first one we see. Here we see one for 55, and this was just sold directly at that price. But here we see one selling for that, so recently actually sold for $95 on eBay. And then scrolling down further, again, we see a $75. We see another 51, but with a really high shipping cost. We see even used selling for good money here with $42, even after it was built. $60 here. We see another $60 here, 65, but that was a best offer accepted. So we see somewhere between, $60 and $90 seems to be the market price. So we could take maybe this one, the 75, as an approximate market price on this. You could sell it for higher in certain cases, but also we see some selling for a little bit lower. But we could take, I think we can reasonably take $75. What I'm going to do is I'm going to note these selling prices down in a Microsoft Excel document, just so we can quickly do a calculation on how much we would get if we sold all 3 of these gift purchases. Now, just to show you real quick the Amazon price, because if you sell it on eBay, you'll be able to sell it for this $75 market price. If you sell it on Amazon, what would you sell it for? On Amazon, it's actually recently selling for $96. I use a tool here called Keepa that shows me the price history on Amazon. And this is the Amazon price of the Death Star 2. $96 right now at the buy box, and yes, it is selling at that price. That is pretty impressive to be able to sell it for $96 on Amazon. Your fees on Amazon are a little bit higher. You will profit more because it is selling for $20 more than the eBay price, but the fees are a little bit higher. Still, we're going to do this calculation based on the eBay price of $75. What is the next gift for purchase? We had the VIP coin. On eBay, I've already searched for it here, and I filtered the results to sales. We see one selling for just a $5 purchase price here, but we also see one for $15 right here. We see one for $12 with free shipping. We see another one for $10 with shipping included, or with separate paid shipping. We see one for $35 here, but I'm going to ignore that because that does seem to be a little bit of a high outlier. And we see another for $10. So I think around $10 seems to be reasonable. In fact, we do actually have a couple higher though, and a couple of lower. So I think maybe we could go for, even being conservative, we could definitely sell it for 10. I would maybe put it at 11 or 12. And let's just add that into our spreadsheet. So let's just say 11. 11 is definitely conservative. We could sell it for $11 on eBay. And on Amazon, that coin is selling for actually less than it is on eBay. It's right now selling for just under $10. It's $9.84 is what that coin is selling for on Amazon right now. And then the third gift that you got last year during the 2023 May 4th promotions was the mini poly bag of the TIE Fighter, so a mini TIE Fighter. And again, we want to look at the new condition ones. If you're selling used condition, you're going to make money as well. But for me, I prefer to keep things sealed if I plan to sell them. So new condition, and you can put a filter on right here on eBay to just show you new. But you can see that this first one here sold for $10 and shipping separately. We see one sale for $6, $8.50, $16, $10, $10, $14. So it looks like around 10 seems about reasonable for this one. We do have some higher price sales, and you probably could sell it for higher price, but we also see some lowball sales as well at $6. So let's just take 10 as well for this one. And then we have a $10 price on that one. So if we sum these three gift for purchase sales together, you are making $96 of sales on eBay. Now, we do not get all of that into our pocket because you do have fees to pay on eBay. Whenever you make a sale on eBay, you got to pay a platform fee. Platform fee is usually somewhere in the region of 15%. It can vary a little bit. You will notice that a lot of these prices, shipping was charged separately. So we don't have to worry about shipping. We charge shipping to our buyer. So we're not going to add anything for shipping. And also typically with these, with definitely these two, you can ship them in a poly bag. So we don't really have much expenses for shipping supplies either. Really, our real cost here is going to be the eBay fee. So I think we could take about a 15% fee for eBay. So we could actually multiply this sale amount by 0.15 and we're going to get our eBay fee. eBay fee is $14.40. So that is what we're going to have to pay to eBay. And then we're going to get our profit is by subtracting that fee from our price. So our actual profit here is going to be $81.60. That is our real profit after we sell these three gifts. And we got to remember the threshold to get these free gifts was $150. If you spent $150, you got all three of these. So let's just imagine that you spent $150 on Lego inventory, and then you sold these three gifts for these prices for $81.60 of profit. Even if you do want to account for a couple of, a box to ship, the Death Star in, and maybe some poly bags or some poly mailers to ship the other stuff in, take a couple of dollars off this. So if you want to be conservative and say $78 of profit instead, we can subtract 78 from that 150 and we are left with $72. That means that the Lego set that you bought for $150 really only cost you $72. So you got it at less than half price. That's over a 50% discount from the $150 purchase price. So at that point, you're getting a really good deal because you're paying $52. You're getting a Lego set worth $150 because you're going to sell these three gifts on eBay. And what percentage are you paying at that point? You are essentially paying 48% of the purchase price. In other words, you're getting a 52% discount on that Lego inventory. Now that is if you spent exactly $150 on Lego inventory, which is kind of rare because typically you're going to have to spend a bit above the threshold in order to get the gifts. And it's rare that you would spend exactly $150. So what if you spent $180? What if you bought a set for $180 or a handful of sets? Then we can change this number to $180. We're still subtracting $78 from it because we're saying that that's our real profit after selling the three gifts. So subtracting $78 from $180 purchase price gives us $102. So we're spending really $102 to get $180 worth of Lego inventory. We're spending 57% of the total amount in that case, which means we have a 43% discount. So the more you spend for these gifts, the more your kind of discount gets reduced down a little bit, but you're still getting a phenomenal discount. We're not even accounting for double VIP points that you may have gotten, or even in some cases, quadruple VIP points. If you spent this $180, you may have bought some sets that had double VIP points. So the gift of purchase, the sale of the gift of purchase is already getting you back somewhere between 40 and 50% of a discount if you sold all three on eBay today. Now, you may be wondering, Shane, we're a year later right now. So do I have to hold the gift of purchase for a year before I can sell them for these prices? or if you know, if I sold them back then in May 2023, would I have gotten similar prices? Now on eBay we can't easily tell the prices from a year ago, but on Amazon we can tell it, because again, I have a tool where we can see price history. Now we won't do this for all of the sets, but just to kind of get an idea here, if we look at this pink line right here and look back over time, we can see it's mostly been flat over the course of the last year. That means the price has not been going up a lot on this Death Star set on Amazon. This Death Star set has been at a similar price point since this time last year. In fact, in June last year, it peaked at $100. It's actually lower today than it was back then. It did go up a little bit in the start. When it came out in May, it was somewhere around $75, $80. And over the course of about a month, it went up to around $95 and then peaked at $100 at the end of June. But since then, it has not increased. It has actually come down a little bit, but mostly it's been flat. So the best time to sell this would have been the end of June 2023. So right after, like a month and a half to 2 months after you first got the gift for purchase, would have been the best time to sell the Death Star. What about this VIP coin? What happened with this price? Here actually we see the price coming down a lot. We actually see the best time to sell it would have been when this listing was first created in August. In fact, this listing was not in existence when the gift was first given out in May 2023. It wasn't until August that someone created a listing on Amazon for this. In August, it was selling for $30. We don't see actual sales. The green line shows us actual sales, but we do see sales here at $18.80. And then the price has dropped since then. Now it's selling for $10. So again, this would have been better to sell back then in 2023, and it would not have been good to hold this because the longer you hold this, the lower the price went. So when it comes to the VIP coin and to the Death Star, you would have been better off really selling them back then in 2023 and not really holding them. What about the gift of purchases that we got in May 2022 as part of Star Wars Day? What about the 2022 promotions? Did they go up in value? What are they selling for? We'll quickly have a very quick look at some of these. We had Lars Family Homestead. That was a gift for purchase in May 2022. Currently selling for somewhere between $25 and $40 on eBay, we can see. If we quickly check Amazon, what have we seen with this one? In fact, with this one, this price did not go up over time either. We can see since it was created back then, it actually was selling at the highest price right away when this listing was created. It was selling for somewhere around $70. It started dropping down, and then over the course of the year, it fluctuated between somewhere around $40 and $50 and $60. Right now today, it's selling for $55. So we're 2 years later now, and this price did not go up. In fact, even a year after release, it did increase slightly up to just over 60, but I don't think it would have been worth a year of wait time. So the best time to sell this would have been right after getting it, in my opinion. And then we can quickly check. We also got the ATST polybag as well, currently selling for $10 on eBay. And the Mandalorian Beskar keychain VIP, currently selling for somewhere around $20 as well. So all three of the gift purchases from last year, 2023, and 2022 are sellable. They're making money. You can sell them on eBay. People want them. And if you're going to be just leaving them in, you know, a wardrobe gathering dust, you may as well move them on to someone who wants them and then recover some of the amount of money that you spent on getting those Lego sets that you bought during those May 4th promotions. So I hope that this was helpful in showing you what you can sell these sets for, these gift purchases for on eBay, also on Amazon, and also you don't really need to hold them over time because we see that a lot of the times the prices don't really increase a whole lot like other Lego sets do. And if you want to learn more about Lego investing, buying Lego sets before values go up, that is what this channel is all about. So make sure to hit that subscribe button. And I've also got a free guide in the description down below, which walks through my 5 steps to building a business by investing in Lego sets. So if you want in on the action, that is where you can find it in the description down below. And with that, thank you so much for being here. I'm Shane from BrickBox.net, and make this your year to lift off and be free.